Be honest. Have you ever walked away from an interaction thinking, she was definitely into me? And then 2 days later, she's clearly not. Same woman, same you, completely different energy. One day she's warm, laughing, leaning in, holding eye contact a little longer than necessary. Next day she's dry, slower replies, short answers, maybe even a little distant. And now you're stuck replaying everything. Did I say something wrong? Did she lose interest? Is she testing me? Is she playing games? You start scrolling back through the conversation like there's some hidden clue you missed. You reread your own messages and suddenly they sound awkward. You imagine how they might have sounded to her. You edit them in your head even though it's too late. And that's the exhausting part, the guessing. Here's the part most guys never hear. Mixed signals are usually not a strategy. They're psychology. And once you understand what's actually happening inside a person's brain during early attraction, things start making more sense. Let's start with something important. Attraction doesn't move in a straight line. It's not this smooth climb where someone likes you a little, then more, and then suddenly they're fully invested. That's not how humans work. It's usually messier than that. Sometimes she feels it strongly, then she questions it, then she's curious again. Then she pulls back for a day because something in her head says, slow down. That push and pull doesn't automatically mean she's playing games. It often means she's human. There's actual research showing that early attraction activates parts of the brain connected to stress and uncertainty, not just excitement. When someone new starts to matter, your brain lights up in reward centers, yes, but it also activates areas linked to anxiety. Which means when someone starts liking you, they don't just feel butterflies, they also feel risk. What if I like him more than he likes me? What if I get attached too fast? What if this doesn't go anywhere? What if I misread this? That's not manipulation, that's self-protection. So when she's warm one day and slightly distant the next, it doesn't automatically mean she's testing you. It might just mean she's thinking. It might mean she felt something strong and now she's regulating it. And if you've ever caught feelings fast and then told yourself to calm down, you already understand this from the inside. Now let's talk about something that really messes with guys. There's a psychology concept called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle that keeps people glued to slot machines. When rewards are unpredictable, the brain pays more attention. If you win every single time you pull a lever, it becomes boring. If you win randomly, your brain locks in harder. It starts chasing the next hit. So if she's warm sometimes and distant other times, your brain spikes. You don't just feel confused, you feel hooked. You start chasing clarity. And the more unpredictable the pattern feels, the more your nervous system wants resolution. But here's the important part. Unpredictable doesn't always mean manipulation. Sometimes it just means she's unsure. And unsure people behave inconsistently. They feel something, they question it, they lean in, they retreat. But there's a line. Unsure still moves forward slowly. Uninterested stays flat. That's the difference most men miss. Now, let me give you a real example. There was a woman I met at a mutual friend's event. She was warm, engaged, physical. She'd touch my arm when she laughed. She texted first sometimes, used emojis, sent voice notes. On paper, that looked strong. And for a while I thought, okay, this is building. But here's what didn't happen. She never locked in plans. If I suggested something specific, it turned into, maybe this week. If I stopped initiating, the conversation faded instead of deepened. She'd flirt in person, but never pushed anything forward outside of that setting. That's not mixed signals. That's surface energy without direction. And I confused that for progress. That was on me, because intensity can feel like growth. But intensity without follow-through is just emotion in the moment. And here's another thing backed by research. Studies show that men often overestimate romantic interest. One study published in Psychological Science found that men are more likely to interpret friendliness as attraction, meaning sometimes what feels mixed isn't mixed at all. It's friendly. She might laugh easily, maintain eye contact, touch your arm casually. That doesn't automatically mean she's invested. It might just mean she's socially warm. The problem isn't that she's confusing. The problem is that you're zooming into moments instead of watching patterns. One deep conversation doesn't mean she's emotionally hooked. One flirty joke doesn't mean she's planning a future. One late-night text doesn't mean she's picturing a relationship. What matters is direction. Are things slowly building, or are they repeating? If weeks pass and you're still in the same vague place, same half plans, same inconsistent texting, same emotional temperature, that's not mystery. That's stagnation. And stagnation rarely turns into momentum. If that realization just clicked for you, do me a favor and hit the like button. It helps this channel find more men who are tired of the same old game and are looking for actual clarity. And if you're ready to stop being the guy who guesses and start being the guy who just knows, hit subscribe. Now let's talk about real mixed signals, the kind that are actually confusing. There are usually 3 real reasons they happen. First, she likes you, but not enough. This is common, and nobody likes hearing it. You're attractive enough to keep around, not attractive enough to prioritize. So she engages when it's convenient, but she doesn't invest when it costs effort. She'll reply, she'll flirt, but she won't rearrange her schedule. She won't push plans forward. She won't take small risks to deepen the connection. Second, she likes the attention more than she likes you. This isn't evil, it's human. Validation feels good. If she's unsure about you long-term but enjoys the attention short-term, she'll keep the connection alive just enough. Warm, then cool, then warm again. Not because she's calculating, because she hasn't decided, and your attention fills the gap while she figures it out. Third, she genuinely doesn't know what she wants. And this one is important. Some people are bad at clarity. They feel things strongly in the moment, then they overthink, then they retreat, then they come back. That inconsistency isn't strategy, it's internal conflict. But here's the key. You don't need to diagnose which one it is. You just need to respond to what's consistent. Let me give you another real example. I once dated someone who would plan incredible dates, engaged, present, physical, curious about my life. Then during the week, dry texting, long gaps, minimal follow-up. Early on, I thought, she's just busy. Then I thought, maybe she's testing me. Then I thought, maybe she's just bad at texting. But over time, I noticed something. When I stepped back slightly, nothing grew. When I leaned in, it revived. That's not mutual investment. That's me fueling it. And the second I stopped pushing, it quietly died. That told me everything I needed to know. Here's the rule I use now. Mixed signals are only confusing when you focus on intensity. They become clear when you focus on momentum. Intensity is how strong it feels in a moment. Momentum is whether it moves forward over time. Real interest creates momentum. Even if it's slow, even if she's cautious, even if she's not glued to her phone. There's direction. Dates get more consistent. Plans get firmer. Communication becomes easier instead of forced. Physical comfort increases naturally. Conversations get deeper without you dragging them there. If you can't point to growth after a few weeks, that's your answer. And here's where most guys sabotage themselves. They try to fix the inconsistency. They text better. They act cooler. They give more space as a tactic. They change tone. They adjust personality. But you can't stabilize someone else's uncertainty. You can only stabilize yourself. Which means, instead of asking, why is she giving mixed signals? Ask, is this moving forward clearly enough for me? That question changes everything. Because now, you're not trying to decode her, you're evaluating the situation. And that shift alone removes most of the anxiety. Let me leave you with this. When someone is genuinely interested, you don't need to convince yourself of it. You might still feel nerves. You might still overthink occasionally. You might still question things here and there. But you won't feel stuck. You won't feel like you're constantly trying to win back warmth. You won't feel like progress depends entirely on your effort. Interest doesn't need to be dramatic. It doesn't need fireworks. But it does need to be directional. If it's hot and cold with no growth, that's not mystery. That's misalignment. And the sooner you see it clearly, the less time you waste chasing clarity from someone who isn't sure. Clarity feels calm. Confusion feels addictive. Choose calm. But before you go, there's a reason we get so stuck in decoding these signals. It's because most of us are trapped in a performance we don't even see. We think we're being charismatic, but she just feels the effort. In the next video, we're going to talk about why you need to stop trying to impress her, and why that shift is actually the key to being magnetic. I'll see you there. I'm Mark, and this is Mark on Dating.